5 notes, Algebra 2 academic. Ooh, I feel like that's like terrible video quality. I don't know what to do. All right, well, I can't figure that out right now. Oh, that's why. Sweet. Okay. All right, so now this one's not too bad, guys. This one's a little better. This one's not too bad. It's pretty simple. So we're going to talk about, guys, please quiet down so I can teach you. We're going to talk about solving rational expressions, okay? So this first one, I kind of don't like this first example.
Wait, is this still on the quiz?
No, it's on the test next week though. Okay, so the only step here is get everything to have the same denominator, get all terms.
Is this on the quiz?
No, it's not. You get all our terms with the same denominator, okay? And then you just you drop the denominator. And then at that point it's like an algebra 1 problem. So then you solve for x. You have to solve for x but check for extraneous solutions. Extraneous solutions, we've seen this one time. Do you guys remember the absolute value unit?
Yeah.
Remember there were some like fake solutions, right? Like ones that like when you solve for x, you came up with that answer, but when you plugged it back in, it didn't work. Okay, that's an extraneous solution. So we're going to get some of those here as well. Okay. All right, so let's get those steps written down. We all love steps. Let's get those steps written down. I'll take a... I have not drunk my breakfast yet. So.
He said, what kind of smoothie?
Yeah.
Oh, it only can be protein.
Whoa, protein shake. Is it good?
It's okay.
Yeah, what's on?
Greek yogurt, a banana, and a bunch of Aldi frozen berries. And almond milk. All right, so right here, right, we have these two terms. How do I get them to have the same denominator? This is like a middle school problem.
Flip.
5 and 3, what's the common denominator? 15, yeah. So you're going to multiply the top and bottom by 3 here, and over here you're going to multiply the top and bottom by 5. Okay, over here then, you also have to, another difference, this one has to have a denominator of 15. So we have to multiply the top and bottom by 15 here. Okay, so 6y over 15 minus 5y over 15 equals 75 over 15. Okay, so that's our first step, right? Get everything to have the same denominator, okay?
Wait, can't we simplify it? Plus the end one?
What's that?
Can we simplify?
No, you want everything to have the same denominator.
Oh,
So the second step is what? Once you have the same denominator, what happens to it? Just goes away. So we have 6y minus 5y equals 75. The last step is solve for y. So this is just y equals 75. Okay? That's my answer, but I need to make sure I do what? How do you check your answer when you solve for a variable?
Plug it in.
You plug the variable back in, okay?
Why does y equal 75?
When do you guys see how I got to this equation? Yeah, so you guys saw how I got to there, right? And then 6y minus 5y equals 75. That's y equals 75. If you can't solve that, we have bigger problems.
Oh.
I know you can.
Throwing shots.
I know you can, though. I know you can. Okay. B. Can I move on to B? Okay, so let's rewrite this. I like to rewrite it because I like to put a denominator in the 1. So 3y plus 6 all over 5 equals, how do I rewrite 1 as a fraction? I actually already did it. Just put it over 1. Yeah, 1 over 1. And then plus 3y over 4. Okay. So let's think about this. We need everything to have the same denominator, right? So what's my 5 missing here that the other denominators have? 4. It's technically missing a 1, but that doesn't really matter, so it's missing a 4. So we're going to multiply the top and bottom here by 4. Okay. What's my 1 missing here that my other 2 denominators have?
20.
Yeah, 20. Okay, cool. Then what do I multiply the third one by? 5. My favorite number. Just kidding. It's not my favorite number.
You don't solve that out yet? Or do you?
Probably like Euler's number.
Can you distribute?
No, you don't have to distribute. No. Probably Euler's number. Or 13. I like 13. It's called Euler's number. We'll talk about it later in the course. It's the limit as n goes to infinity of 1 plus 1 over n all raised to the n. All right, what's my second step here?
Cancel the bottom.
Now the bottom goes goodbye. Everybody, all right, anyone ever seen Toy Story 2?
Yeah.
You guys remember, bye, Woody, I don't want to play with you anymore? That's what I think of every time
That's so true.
Every time we cancel the denominator, I just think, bye, 20, I don't want to play with you anymore. Then my third step is what?
Oh, when he's like dropping.
Yeah, when he's like dropping him in the trash can. I don't want to play with you. Anyway, what's my third step here? You solve for y, right? It's so easy to solve for y here. It's an algebra 1 problem.
Yeah.
So you do distribute.
Yeah, you end up distributing. All right. So then I solve for y. I'm running out of space. Okay, but you really need to be really careful with these. So I got y equals 4/3 as my answer. You need to be really careful to plug them back in and check, okay? And I'll show you a good example of why you need to do that right now, okay? So I'll let you guys finish writing down that one. I'll take another sip.
Yo.
All right, let's move on to I. Can we move on to I?
Hold on, wait a minute, slow your roll.
All right, I'm gonna move on to I. What? Okay, cool. I'll move back up there, okay? So I want to do I because I want to show an example of an extraneous solution, okay? So I'm going to rewrite that 2 as a fraction. Okay? We need to get everything to have the same denominator, right? That's our first step. What's my denominator here missing that the other two have?
X minus
It's not missing x minus 5. It's right there.
Oh, that one?
Yeah, this one on the left.
It's not-
Yeah, but this one these two aren't missing anything. What's this one in the middle missing? X minus 5, yeah. Good. Good. So we're going to have x over x minus 5. Good. So everything has the same denominator. Okay. What's that second step? Yeah, by x minus 5. I don't want to play with you anymore. Okay, so we're going to get rid of the denominator. Okay, and then this is an algebra 1 problem, guys. We should be able to solve this. There, and I got x equals 5 is my answer. No.
Oh, wait, never mind. You already.
I got x equals 5 is my answer. Okay, how do we check? Plug it back in. So we get 5 over 5 minus 5 minus 2 equals 5 over 5 minus 5, okay? So I get 5 over 0 minus 2 equals 5 over 0. What's kind of wrong about this? Can't have 0 in the denominator.
It's undefined.
You guys never watched Sesame Street, did you?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Noodle, anyone know Mr. Noodle?
Mr. Noodle.
Silly Mr. Noodle, you can't have 5 in your denominator. Okay.
We have to plug it in.
Yeah, kind of. You just have to make sure that you don't get it divided by 0. Yeah.
So this is bad.
So this one is a no solution. Okay? That's a fake solution, okay? It's fake. Okay? Right, it's a fake solution. Okay. Can I go and move on to C then? And some of you guys who haven't finished writing down B.
C. Wait, so we have to wait. I know what do you mean? What do you say to answer the question?
The answer to that one is no solutions, because my only solution is a being fake. Yeah,
Imposter.
Just like JT.
fake, just like, I don't know. I think the celebrity is fake.
Okay.
Up down.
Okay, so let's go back up to C. Okay, so C, I got 14 over x equals 5 over 1 minus 1 over x. Okay. I need to get them to all be the same denominator. What's my one denominator in the middle missing? X. So I'm going to multiply the one in the middle by x over x. Okay. So I did that first step, right? I got the same denominator on everything. And then I do what? Yeah. Cancel the denominator. All right. Hopefully we can know how to solve 14 equals 5x minus 1. Okay, good. All right, and then when we plug it back in, we get the right answer, okay? And we don't get any, this is not an extraneous solution, okay? All of your extraneous, okay, yeah, I think that's true actually. All of your extraneous solutions, all of your fake solutions, when you plug them in, you'll get a divide by 0, okay? So this one, when you plug it in, you do not get a divide by 0, so this is the right answer, yes?
Wait, so you're looking, when you plug it in, you're looking to solve it out again?
Yeah, so you can solve it out again to make sure you got the right answer, but the one thing you're really checking for is you want to make sure you don't have a 0 in the bottom. But you can solve it out again, yeah. Like that's always a good idea on a test, especially if you have extra time. Right, remember in Algebra 1, you can always plug x back in and be 100% sure you got the right answer. But we need to make sure we don't have a 0 in the denominator when we plug x back in, okay? That's not the case here, but it was the case in part I. Remember? Okay.
Wait, they're the same now.
Yeah, for D. Yeah, so for D, they're already the same. The first step is done for you, okay? So then what do I do immediately then? Just go right into step 2. So you can cross out the denominator. Okay. When we solve this, we get 17. Okay, and then let's see if it's a fake solution. If we plug it back in, we do not get a divide by 0. Okay. We get 12 over 19 equals 12 over 19, which works. So we know, I'm 100% sure, right? I can bet my entire life savings that my answer is correct. Right. Is that funny? Is me drinking my smoothie funny?
No, I was just laughing at that.
I know. All right. He just thinks rational expressions are hilarious. Anyway, could we do E?
That's it.
That's it. All right, Izzy, put your phone away, please. All right, so we got 1 over 1 plus 1 over x equals 20 over x squared. Okay. All right, we've got to make sure everything has the same denominator. What's this one missing that the other two have?
X squared.
Yeah, so you might think that it's missing both x and x squared. It's really only missing x squared. So multiply the top and bottom by x squared. What's the middle one missing? X. So we need to multiply by x over x. I like the answers I'm getting to these questions I'm asking. Over here?
No.
Over here?
Yeah.
So we started with 1 over 1. We started with 1 over 1. And we needed there to be an x squared in the bottom here, right? Because that's what the other two denominators are. So to get that, I multiply the top and bottom by x squared, and that gives me x squared over x squared. Okay? Step 2, denominators go bye-bye. Okay? Now we have x squared plus x equals 20. These were the most missed problems on the last test. How do I solve an equation like this? How do I solve an equation like that? Make sure, move the 20 over, right? We want to make sure we're in standard form. Okay, so we have to have a 0 on one side, and then the other side has to have a positive lead coefficient. Okay. What's my second step for a problem like this? Factor. All right. So we need to make sure our factoring skills are up to date. Okay. Factoring's tough and it doesn't go away. You always factor. I had to factor for my senior thesis in college. Okay, so factoring never goes away.
What?
I had to factor for. You always have to factor.
For a thesis?
Yeah. All right.
What's your thesis?
All right. I digress. What's my last step?
70 equals
Thesis.
Oh, I guess you guys might be. So in college, so thesis refers to like a thesis statement, a paper, but it also refers to like a really big paper you write at the end of like a degree. So like at the end of college, you write a big paper called a thesis.
We're just wondering how factoring fits into that.
right.
Well, it was a thesis about like physics, so I had to factor.
Oh.
All right, so these are my two solutions. And then what do I need to make sure they don't do? I need to make sure they give me, yeah. So, and they're okay. They're okay. It's okay. Yeah, both those are okay. I know, it's -5. I got that backwards, but we're good. We're good. Okay, they're not extraneous. They're not extraneous. Okay. F. Can I move on to F? I'm going to move on to F. Okay. So we got 6% on my iPad. Okay. Getting out of crunch time. So we need to make sure everything has the same denominator. We need the common denom. Okay. So what's my denominator on the left missing that my denominator on the right has? Yeah, it's missing a 3x minus 6. So we're going to multiply the top and bottom by 3x minus 6. I really don't want to have to sit down at my desk. What about the second denominator? What's that missing? 2x minus 5. Yeah, it's missing a 2x minus 5. Okay. Now we're going to cancel our denominator now that they're the same. Okay, and then I have this equation. How do I solve this equation? Got to distribute. I have to expand and then put it in standard form, right? So let's expand that out. This one is a little easy on you. Right, because when you go to put it in standard form, you subtract 12x squared from both sides. Right, we're trying to get a 0 on one side. When we do that, the x squareds cancel, and we're just left with 11x minus 11 equals 0. Just cancel. Okay, that's not too hard to solve. So we get x equals 1 as our tentative solution. I use the word tentative because I have to do what?
Plug it.
Got to plug it in and make sure it solves. So. It does. There's no zeros in the new denominator, so worry not. Worry not. Fear not. I got 3 of them left. Yeah, it is. It is until you get a lot of practice in it, then you can do it really fast. Can we move on to G? So one thing we have, and these aren't the best examples, I'm sorry guys. One thing we haven't had to do yet is, so we need to make sure these all have the same denominator, right? Before you do that, right, before you're ready to like, okay, let's look at this, what's this one missing that the other two have, we need to make sure everything's what? Factored, right? So let's factor that. Sorry, everything up until now hasn't had to be factored.
How do you know this needs to be factored?
Because there's a GCF here. Yeah. What's this denominator missing that the others have?
2x.
So it has an x, okay, it has an x, okay? Don't need that. It's missing an x plus 1, right? Doesn't have an x plus 1. It's also missing a 2. This one has a 2. So we need to multiply the top and bottom here by 2, and also by x plus 1, okay? So times 2 times x plus 1, times 2 times x plus 1, okay? What about this one in the middle? What are we missing here?
2x.
So we're missing an x, okay? We're missing a 2. What else are we missing?
3x.
So we're missing an x, a 2, and a 3. So I'm going to multiply by 6x on the top and bottom. Yeah. Okay, we're missing an x, we were missing an x, we were missing a 2, and we were missing a 3. Okay. Make that a little. Okay. And then this last one, what's this last one missing?
3x.
Just 3. It's not missing an x, right? There's an x right there. It's just missing a 3. Does that make sense, Lila? Okay, so then we multiply that all out. We get 8 times x plus 1 all over, what's my denominator? 6x. All over 6x times x plus 1 minus 6x. All over 6x times x plus 1 equals 3. All over 6x times x plus 1. Okay. We got that common denom, so I do what? Goodbye. Okay, and then I have an algebra 1 equation right there. Solve. That's my tentative solution. I need to check to make sure what is the case. I need to make sure it doesn't give me a divide by 0 when I plug it back in, which it doesn't. It does not, okay? I'm going to move on, okay? I'm going to assume we know how to plug x's back into our equations. Can I move on to H? I need to do what? I need to combine all the denominators, but how do I do that? I need to do what first? Factor, okay? Yay, I love factoring. What does that factor to in the bottom? So we set up our shell. What are my signs? They're both positive. 4 and 1. Thank you, Dane. bottom factor 2. Wouldn't it just be 1 and 1? And then that third one is the exact same as that first denominator. Okay, so what is this guy missing that the others two have? No, it has an x plus 4, right? So this first denominator on the left wasn't missing. What factor? So it has an x plus 4. It has one x plus 1. Well, let's think about this. This denominator has 2x plus 1s, okay? So what that means is my other two denominators also have to have that, okay? So I need to multiply this first fraction by x plus 1 on the top and bottom, okay? You not only need to have the same factors, you need to have the same number of the same factors. Does that make any sense? Yeah. So we're going to multiply by x plus 1 on the top and bottom. This one in the middle, what do we multiply on top and bottom? X plus 4. And then this last one we multiply by the same thing. X plus 1 over x plus 1. Okay. All right, so then our denominators are going to go away, and our equation's kind of big, so bear with me. It's going to be x plus 6 times x plus 1 minus 6 times x plus 4 equals x minus 6 times x plus 1. Okay, so this, believe it or not, this is an algebra 1 equation, okay, so we need to distribute. Okay, combine like terms. This one's a little trickier. Okay, when I get to this point in this equation, so I think we can get to here. I do what? I need to put this equation in what form? Standard, right? So I do what then? I want to make this, I want to get this side to equal 0, so I'm going to subtract x squared from both sides. I'm going to add 5x to both sides, and I'm going to add 6 to both sides, okay? And that's so I can get the right side equal to 0, okay? Right? Our first step in solving an equation like this is getting in standard form, okay? So those will cancel on the right. I have 0. This cancels. 6x minus 12 equals 0. Okay, and that's solved by x equals 2. Okay. We need to make sure what's the case when I go back. That it doesn't give you 0 in the denominator. Okay, so plug it back in. Okay, if you do, you won't get divided by 0 here. Okay, so don't worry. Don't you worry, child. This problem has no extraneous solutions. Okay. We get lost anywhere here? Get lost. Yeah. Gotta get that standard form. Can I move on to the last one? All right, one more. So I need to do what first? What do I need to do first here? Same denominators, but to do that, factor that bottom first, guys. Factor that bottom first. Okay. Yeah, well, because nothing else can be factored, right? Like, you can't factor anything else. we need to multiply this fraction on the left by? We should know this.
X plus no.
X plus 3. In the middle, we multiply by what? And then is that last fraction missing anything? No. So we have the same denominator, so we're going to cancel. Okay, and then I have an algebra 1 equation left. Okay. So I got x equals -5. That's my answer, right? What's that? Yeah, why do you think it's no solution, Lila? Yeah. So when you go back to plug it in, look what happens, guys. This first term right here becomes 1 over 0, right? So this is what kind of solution? Extraneous, so it's no solutions is the answer. Hey, good job, guys. I'll get this uploaded, okay? Let's do that 6.5 homework. I gave you a day extension on the 6.3, okay? So you might be kind of busy.